I'm Rolene Marks. Welcome to Modiin and Beyond. Join me every Sunday between 3 and 4 on Radio Modiin as we take a look at what's happening in Modiin, Israel, and beyond. I can't help dancing to that intro. Yes, it is another Tuesday morning between 10 and 11 where you join me, Rolene Marks, for Modiin and Beyond on Radio Modiin. And just a reminder, if you want to advertise your business, please be in touch with us via our website at www.radiomodiin.co.il. And you can do it through Facebook as well, or hey, just contact me. I'll sort you out. No worries. We have a great show coming up today. We're going to profile a local business, Shweet Brew, Biltong. What is that all about? We're going to be speaking to Uri Marks, no relation. We are also going to be chatting to Dan Diker from the Jerusalem Center of Public Affairs. We're going to be unpacking the White House's recently unveiled plan to combat anti-Semitism. And of course, we're going to cut to the queen of entertainment, our very own Yael Kinar. We're going to be talking about the Ozempic craze, and I'm going to run something that I'm very excited past her, and that is the return of Outlander this Saturday, I think it is. But anyway, on with the show, and we welcome Local is Lekker. South Africans will know what I'm talking about. Uri Marks, welcome to Modiin and Beyond.
We're on the show, Rolene. Nice to be here.
Now, you have an incredible business. It's called Shweet Brew Biltong. And of course, we South Africans know all about Biltong. But for those who have no idea what it is, tell us a little bit about Biltong.
So, in essence, for those who are not aware, Biltong it's a South African born and bred dried meat. It comes in multiple flavors, but ideally it's a savory meat, but you can do it in many flavors, which we do. So it's a process where meat is dried, slightly different to the American jerky. And something I tell the Americans when they ask me is, what is biltong? I say, well, biltong is what jerky wants to be. So
exactly. It's aspirational process. Jerky.
Yes. It's way better than jerky is. And we at Shweet Brew do multiple flavors. So obviously there's traditional type flavoring, which is done with coriander and spices and pepper and salt, but also do a whole lot of other flavors, sometimes a little bit hotter with some chili, sometimes a little bit sweeter with teriyaki. So there are many variations that have come out of traditional biltong. And Shweet Brew itself the concept of Shweet Brew was born in South Africa, but it's maturing now in Modiin. So proud to be in Modiin, been here since November, made Aliyah just last year, and taking Shweet Brew to another level. Originally started with, and you'll see in the logo, there's a chili, there's a little chili mascot. It started with sweet chili sauces, which we're doing here in Israel, but have expanded to do biltong too at the moment, and we'll be adding chili salmon also to the mix. But yeah, maturing nicely in Israel and in Modiin. Getting customers, of course, South Africans know the product, but we've got other guys that are now learning about it and loving it. Americans, Russians, English. So yeah, slowly gaining traction. There are obviously other people doing biltong and the like in Israel, but we're doing it with a slightly funkier and more fun and more tastier angle.
Well, we love to profile Modiin-based businesses, especially from Olim, because it's not easy to come to a strange country where we don't speak the language. We can encounter a million different cultures on any given day. But tell us a little bit about the business. How did you start it in Israel? You said you brought it from South Africa to Israel. What have been some of the challenges that maybe you have faced, but also some of the real great highlights and achievements that you could perhaps share with some of our young new business owners?
Okay, so just to let you know, so this is at the moment a cottage in Shweet. It's a home-based business at the moment. hoping obviously to scale it over time. But some of the challenges, of course, are around things like obviously language, trying to figure out when you're sourcing ingredients, what are the appropriate ingredients in the country, where the appropriate suppliers are. And there is a lot of trial and error. There's a trial and error with sourcing ingredients, with pricing, with flavors. But that's part of the process, and that's part of the excitement. And that's, I think, anyone who's starting something or doing something that they're passionate about, that's part of the process, and that's what makes it a lot of fun and very enjoyable. Some things are frustrating, some things don't work out, and of course there are going to be at times failures and batches in this case that can't be sold, and flavors that don't work, and customers that obviously at times don't necessarily like the end product. But that's with any business. But those are the challenges, that you're learning everything from scratch. You have to now use things like Google Translate to find the appropriate product or the appropriate ingredient. But again, it's learning and it's growing, and it's and that's part of the excitement. I think what's been quite interesting is how many people are interested in engaging and finding out more. So there's definitely, on the positive side, there's interest. So whether it's an Israeli, let's say a born and bred Israeli, or whether it's someone of another nationality, people are keen to engage and understand and taste and learn more. So I find that there's a lot of openness to try new things, to taste new things, and it's interesting getting customers that have never had biltong in the past. Obviously, there's customers like South Africans who know biltong, and then you've got people who have visited South Africa, so they've tasted biltong and keen to try it again. But there's people out there saying, we're into food, we're into trying something new, keen to try this, have no idea what it is, and thankfully, slowly converting people. Those are some of the challenges and some of the interesting wins that we're having.
Well, what many people don't realize about Israel is that it's actually quite a sophisticated country when it does come to food. Israelis are quite discerning. So I think it's a hugely positive sign that they are learning about biltong and learning and interested in trying more. I mean, guys, once you go biltong, you never go jerky, because that is the absolute pinnacle. Now, tell us, what are the best sellers? I mean, I myself am partial to something a little bit more spicy.
Yeah. So my personal preference is spicy, but the best sellers at the moment is turning out to be teriyaki. Mm-hmm. So while a lot of people like traditional biltong, which is savory, the teriyaki is proving to be very, very popular, and that gives a little bit of a sweet flavor. And then also dry horse. Dry horse is proving to be quite popular also with the non-South Africans. They seem to like dry horse. So dry horse and teriyaki seem to be the most popular at the moment. But we've got multiple flavors, and I think if anyone wants to find us, you can either just do a Google search for Shweet Brew, or you can look on Facebook, Shweet Brew. But I'm doing interesting things like, again, I mentioned teriyaki, but I'm also doing sweet chili, doing chili bites, which is a little bit of a harder biltong, something more to chew on. We call them chili bites, which are quite hot and flavorful. Also doing wasabi biltong. So trying very, different flavors. And then also what's quite nice, where I think where we set apart from maybe some of the other biltong manufacturers is, I'm trying to keep it very personal and very customized. So while we've got standard batches that we do, if someone likes, as we know with biltong, within the same family, you'll like someone who likes it slightly wetter, someone who likes it drier, someone likes it sweeter, someone likes it saltier. If people just let me know, I can make it according to their requirements. So if someone likes a certain batch, or even if the same family, they like two different styles, now you can do that. And in fact, one of the things I'm doing now is a variety pack, where you get a pack of 6 different flavors, almost to taste and try, but it makes out, it's a little bit of something for everybody. Also great for a gift, great for a simcha. I'm very happy to say that we've done so far one wedding, ex-South Africans, where we supplied the treats, the biltong treats. We've done a couple of brochas, also non-South African kiddushes at some shuls where guys have put together, they provided some biltong. So definitely people are, getting a like and getting developing a taste for it. But again, the point I want to make is that there's multiple flavors. So there's something for everyone, whether you like it spicy like yourself, whether you like it sweet like my wife, or whether you like it traditional like a lot of other people, there's something for everyone.
You can't see it, but my engineer is behind the glass nodding his head. It looks like he is very, very interested in the sound of this biltong. Yes, I've got big smiles and big nods coming from behind the screen. And he's Israeli. So, hey, we're converting another one. Because remember, once you go biltong, you can't go
One by
back to
one.
jerky. Now, you mentioned a little earlier about salmon. Salmon is a favorite food for many people. So is this dried salmon or fillets? How's this going to work?
No. So this is traditional smoked salmon, but it gets prepared with chili and some other vegetables. So it turns into a chili salmon. So almost, if I could best explain it, it's almost like sometimes you get herring that's in a little bit of oil with some vegetables. Of course, it's not herring, but it's salmon. It's smoked salmon that's prepared with chili. So it's salmon with a little bit of a kick. Goes great on challah, goes great on crackers. Just something different. It's something that some of the stores in South Africa are offering, and always liked it, started making it, and starting to offer it here in Israel too.
You're making me hungry. So tell us again where we can get our hands on some biltong. I've got Pe'er, my engineer, looking at me as if to say, it's one thing to eat the yogurt, which he says, but he'd like to get his hands on some biltong and some salmon. So Pe'er, this is for you. And for anyone out there who's got a craving for some biltong, can you just remind our listeners where we get a hold of Shweet Brew Biltong?
Right. Okay. So thank you for that. So let me just also add, we offer a money back guarantee. So I always feel like I'm in a contract with my customers. Customers are paying me and I'm providing a service and a product that they like. If it's a product they don't like, then of course that contract hasn't been fully fulfilled. So there's a money back guarantee. I just want to put that out there, that if anyone's not happy with the product they've received, full money back guarantee. That's number one. Number two, within Modiin, I do free delivery. So again, I mentioned earlier around the personalization and customization. I want that personal service. There's free delivery to customers within Modiin. And then if people want to get Brew, Shweet@gmail.com. Remember, Shweetbrew@gmail.com. And Brew is BREW, not BRU, BREW, as if it's a combination of flavors and tastes. It's a brew, Shweet Brew. So Shweetbrew@gmail.com. And then also, if you want to just Google or look on Facebook, you can look on Google Shweet Brew, or on Facebook Shweet Brew. You'll find my details, you'll find pricing, you'll find some funky posters and ads. But yeah, happy for people to reach out, and again, happy to supply and get people salivating.
Well, I'm definitely salivating, and so is Pe'er behind the screen over there. I just want to say a huge thank you to Uri Marks. Unfortunately, not a relation, but we're going to have to get you into the studio sometime soon. And Pe'er wants to do a taste test of the biltong. So
I think we should do that.
We're going to get you back into studio.
Live on air taste testing.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Uri Marks on the other side of this music break. And while we go for a little bit of a snack after that, Dan Diker and I unpack the White House plan to combat anti-Semitism.
hot, so let's turn up the heat till we fry. The girl is at your side. Are you gonna do it? She wants to be your bride. Are you gonna do it? She wants to multiply. Are you gonna do it? I know you will be satisfied until you do it. Some like it hot and some sweat when the heat is on. Some like it hot, some like it hot. And some sweat when the heat is on. Some feel that heat and decide that they can't go on. Some like it hot, but you can't tell how hot till you try. Some like it hot, so let's turn up the heat till we fry. Some like it hot, some like it hot. Some like it hot, some like it hot.
The power station with some like it hot. They could be describing the weather here in Israel. It certainly is hot and humid, and we like to keep it hot here on Radio Modiin. I'm Rolene Marks. If you've just tuned in, and you can join me every Tuesday between 10 and 11 for Modiin and beyond, where we take a look at what's happening in Modiin, in Israel and around the world. Now, if you are a Modiin-based business like Shweet Brew is, be in contact with me. Let's get you on air. Let's get your business out there. Also, if you would like to advertise on Radio Modiin, you can be in contact with us via our website at www.radiomodiin.co.il. Our rates are very, very competitive, and we have a growing audience. You can also get a hold of us via Facebook, or hey, just be in touch with me, Rolene Marks. You can find me on Facebook. Now, several weeks ago, the White House announced that they had released their plan for combating anti-Semitism. This has been welcomed by many. Many have also said, why has it taken too long? It is a plan packed with a lot of ways or a lot of mechanisms to monitor anti-Semitism in its various iterations and manifestations, but it is also a plan that has garnered quite a significant amount of criticism. Now, I am expecting to speak to Dan Diker. He is the president of the Jerusalem Center of Public Affairs. He is an expert in, amongst many, many things, in lawfare. So let me see if we have him on the line. Do we have Dan? We're still waiting for Dan to come up onto the line, onto Zoom. But let's take a look at what has been happening in the United States in recent years. We have seen a significant increase in the amount of anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic rhetoric on social media platforms like Twitter and various others. Just this past weekend, we saw right-wing neo-Nazis demonstrating outside Disney. In the last couple of weeks, we've heard from the far left anti-Semites in places like City University in New York, another university as well this past weekend, commencement speech of focusing on criticizing and then basting the state of Israel. So now that I have Dan joining me live from Jerusalem, Dan Diker, president of the Jerusalem Center of Public Affairs, welcome to Modiin and Beyond.
Well, great to be on Modiin and Beyond.
You just missed, I know one of the things you and I like to talk about off air is Biltong. So you've just missed Urban Brew and his talk about Biltong, but we're here to unpack the very, very important White House plan to combat anti-Semitism. Dan, why has it taken so long, given the rise of anti-Semitism over the last couple of years, for the White House to put a proper plan into motion?
Well, this is an overarching 60-page plan that, frankly, comes after, multiple reports, year-over-year reports, documenting unprecedented highs, spikes in anti-Semitism in the United States. The United States clearly has always taken a strong view against anti-Semitism, but the problem that we face today, Rolene, is that anti-Semitism is metastasizing into what we call the new apartheid anti-Semitism or collective anti-Semitism, and people are unfortunately misusing the Z word, meaning Zionist, and they're not connecting. The United States, especially, has failed to connect the concept of Zionism, which is the collective identity of the Jewish people, as a expressed and new and centralized form of anti-Semitism.
Now, see, this also filters back to a largely USA-funded institution like the United Nations. And I have the privilege of representing World WITSA on the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations special sessions on anti-Semitism. They've actually postponed next week's meeting in Cordoba to release their plan to monitor anti-Semitism. Note, not combat anti-Semitism, monitor anti-Semitism. And it has been postponed because they have left out that vital link that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Now, the White House report has been received with a lot of praise, that it's very welcome and all of that, but also a significant amount of criticism. And I've had a look through the plan, and there are two glaring issues for me. The first is the inclusion of care, which we will get to in a second. And the other is the language that they embrace the IRA definition of anti-Semitism, but there's no full endorsement of the IRA definition of anti-Semitism. Explain to our listeners, what is IRA and why is it critical that institutions, that governments, that plans that are focused on combating anti-Semitism do formally adopt the IRA definition of anti-Semitism?
Well, really, the IRA definition of the International Holocaust, the IHRA, the International Holocaust Alliance. I've forgotten the middle
Remembrance
initial,
Alliance.
But it's the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance of 216. It's a working definition. It's a non-legal draft definition of anti-Semitism, and it was brought in 2016 by and endorsed by many in the EU 27. It's been endorsed by the United States. It's been endorsed by many countries around the world. But the challenge of the IHRA definition, International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, is that it's not enforceable. It's only morally, I would say, enforceable, but it's not legally enforceable. And it is based very much on fronting the anti-Zionist reality that we face today, which many in the international community mistakenly call political criticism and not really anti-Semitism, when it really is the full expression of modern anti-Semitism, of Jew hatred. This is collective Jew hatred that the IHRA definition attempts to solve, attempts to address. And I think that one of the major challenges that we face is that Israel is the nation state of the Jewish people, the democratic nation state of the Jewish people, was founded as a response to modern anti-Semitism. So many people find it difficult to understand how being against Israel, what they call frequently anti-Israel, is actually an expression of collective Jew hatred. So there's a conceptual problem that people have about understanding collective Jew hatred, Zionism, as anti-Semitism, when in fact it is precisely that. And that is the major mistake, in my view, that we see in the 60-page document, the United States strategy to combat anti-Semitism. While it references Israel, it does not explain how opposing Zionism or framing Zionism as apartheid or as calling Israel a genocidal or racist, which happens all the time, entity or country, is expressly anti-Semitic. And this is the major challenge that we face.
Well, I always find it interesting that so-called social justice warriors, people like actor Mark Ruffalo, Roger Waters, many others, are very, very triggered by IRA. They say that the reason is it shuts down legitimate criticism of the state of Israel, when if you read the IRA definition, it explicitly states that you can criticize policies that you disagree with, but saying that Israel has no right to exist as the nation state of the Jewish people is explicitly anti-Semitic. And I also find it unbelievably patronizing and arrogant that people who are not Jewish and have not experienced anti-Semitism are trying to define anti-Semitism for us and what we deign to be offensive. Now, the other big criticism that the plan is facing is the inclusion of CARE. Can you explain to our listeners who is CARE and why is it so controversial to include them in a plan to combat anti-Semitism?
Well, CARE, which is the Committee on American Islamic Relations, has been called a stakeholder in the 60-page plan. The problem is that CARE is part of the problem. It's not part of the solution. And if you look at statements that CARE has made, they have been blatantly anti-Semitic. I mean, they're just full of Jew hatred. Just take a look. Just put in CARE, CAIR, into Google and anti-Semitism, and you will see some of the statements that they've made. Anybody who is a Zionist is has no conscience. That's a quote from CARE, just as a taste of what they say. And CARE has been affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood as well. They have taken a strongly not only anti-Israel but Israel hatred position, and the report is so universal in its approach. It calls CARE a stakeholder. It promotes the idea that as November 2023, kosher and halal food will be offered in the Veterans Administration. I mean, this is the type of, I would call, low-hanging anti-Semitic fruit, if you will, that or low-risk anti-Semitism, as Rabbi Avi Weiss wrote in a very tough criticism of the plan in Tablet magazine recently. And I think there's something really to that. Anti-Semitism in its modern variety has nothing to do with criticism of Israel. And this is the key point. Criticism of Israel does not occur when people call Israel a racist, white supremacist, apartheid, Nazi, genocidal, ethnic cleansing state. All of those terms are profoundly and demonstrably anti-Semitic. If you want to criticize Israel's policy, then isolate the policy and compare it to other countries, and if you want to criticize the policy, you'd better be able to argue both sides of the issue. Meaning, if you think, for example, that Israel's policy of building housing starts east of the 1967 lines is wrong or illegal, then you've got to be able to restate Israel's logic and its rights in terms of pursuing that policy, and then you can argue against it. But simply by name calling Israel the apartheid or settler colonialist state, that is profoundly Jew hatred. And how do we know? What's the proof, Rolene? The proof is if you replace the word Jew with the word Jewish state, then you'll know if those expressions are anti-Semitic or not. And finally, we know that because former prisoner of Zion, Natan Sharansky, he came up with the 3D definition: delegitimization, demonization, double standards. Any of those expressions against the collective Jewish community as measured against the same statements against the individual Jew, you'll know very well if it's anti-Semitic or not.
Now, to me, it looks like the Biden administration are kind of absolving the left manifestation of anti-Semitism and focusing on traditional right-wing style anti-Semitism. I know that the U.S. Special Envoy on Combating Anti-Semitism, Deborah Lipstadt, who is in Israel at the moment, stated just yesterday she is aware of how problematic it is for CARE to be included in the plan to combat anti-Semitism, but feels that they need to have the opportunity to kind of redeem themselves. Is this a political move?
Well, first of all, the administration faces a lot of pressure because it is sort of a mainstream idea in the Jewish community that even harsh criticism of Israel does not constitute anti-Semitism. At the same time, the administration has not, this particular administration and many others in civil society in the United States have not come to terms with the idea that if you throw out the same invective against the Jewish and democratic state, that constitutes anti-Semitism. And I think they are under a lot of pressure by other groups such as CARE, to focus on classic right-wing anti-Semitism, which is very much not the majority expression of anti-Semitic acts in the United States. The vast majority of anti-Semitic Jew hatred actions in the United States always have a connection, indirectly or directly, to Israel. And you see that in Kanye West, the famous rapper, in his comments about Israel and Netanyahu, controlling the books, killing people. This is, he went on a diatribe recently in the last month when he started talking about anti-Semitism, and he started making anti-Semitic representations about the Jews controlling Hollywood and the big Jewish conspiracy. And then all of a sudden he broke out into this sort of Israel conspiracy. So there is a lot of political pressure not to go and recognize anti-Semitism when it comes from the left. Barry Weiss, in her book How to Fight Anti-Semitism, raised that particular issue, and she herself comes from the more liberal streams of the American Jewish community. So there is a major problem. And in fact, people use the South Africa model, which you're a South African Israeli, and you've written extensively on this. And what people have done is to have done this sort of political replacement theology, using apartheid as the new moniker for Israel, which is, anybody who's taken in a 7th grade class in racism and apartheid knows that the misusage, the misappropriation of South African apartheid pre-1994 and applying it to Israel is such a gross manifestation of Jew hatred. It requires a massive response from Israel and the international Jewish community, particularly the South African Jewish community, both in country and expatriates in Israel and around the world, without any kind of conditions attached. It has to be unconditional counter, this sort of counter apartheid, Israel apartheid move. As long as the Jewish community remains silent or passive to these types of ridiculous comparisons and outright expressions of collective anti-Semitism against the Jewish state, we're not going to make the type of noise that CARE makes when they claim Islamophobia when anybody says anything even mildly critical about the way Islamist organizations are behaving.
Just as a South African, it is profoundly hurtful that the unique history, the unique narrative and historical experience of the victims of apartheid has been misappropriated to push a hateful agenda. That was Dan Diker, the president of the Jerusalem Center of Public Affairs, breaking down and unpacking the White House plan to combat anti-Semitism. We're going to have to get him on sometime soon. And after this short music break, we're going to be talking about Ozempic. We're going to be talking about elderly celebrities fathering children. I don't know, who I could be talking about, Al Pacino. And you're not going to want to miss my chat with Yael Kinar, the queen of entertainment.
המילים מרגיעות והרגשות סתום, כל מילה במקום והלב נשאר אטום, והימים כל כך יפים, הלילות של החורף הזה מזכירים לי ימים קסומים. 2 דקות מספיקות, תני יד ונצעד מפה, גם בגוף, גם בלב, עוד תתני לגעת בכאב, והימים כל כך יפים, הלילות של החורף הזה מזכירים לי ימים קסומים. אל תדאגי, אני כאן, אני רואה שבחיים הגלגלים מסובבים את כולם, המלחמות, ההיפוכים, בסוף יוצאים מחוזקים לעולם. הזמנים לא קלים, נעלם בין הצללים, מתעורר והלך, ונמלט מהשכחה, והימים כל כך יפים, הלילות של החורף הזה מזכירים לי ימים קסומים. אל תדאגי, אני כאן, אני רואה שבחיים הגלגלים מסובבים את כולם, המלחמות, ההיפוכים, בסוף יוצאים מחוזקים לעולם. אני רואה שבחיים הגלגלים מסובבים את כולם, המלחמות, ההיפוכים, בסוף יוצאים מחוזקים לעולם. התושבים מדברים, רדיו מודיעין, התושבים מדברים. הבית שלך זה הלב שלנו, להנהלה, תתרגלו להגיד מכאן, להנהלה, הבית שלך זה הלב שלנו, תתרגלו להגיד מכאן, להנהלה.
שלטק מודיעין הוא מתחם עבודה שיתופי ליזמים וחברות. בשלטק תמצאו עמדות עבודה אישיות, משרדים סגורים, חדרי ישיבות מרווחים, מרחבי הדרכה משודרגים. בקיצור, כל מה שעסק בצמיחה צריך. שלטק, עסקים שגדלים יחד.
טרייד סטיישן, אפליקציית המסחר זוכת הפרסים. לסחור רק עם הטוב ביותר. אליט פלטפורמס, המקבצה הפיננסית שלכם.
תקומו עם רשת איטית במשרד ובבית, או שאין מספיק קליטה ברשת האלחוטית? מפחדים שאין לכם הגנה מספיקה לבית ולעסק שלכם? שואלים את עצמכם, למה החשמל נופל לי כל הזמן? פיסיקו מחשבים, חשמל ותקשורת, היא הפתרון האולטימטיבי לעסק ולבית שלכם. עם ניסיון של 22 שנה בתחום המתח הנמוך והגבוה, נותנים לכם מענה בכל הקשור לכל עבודות החשמל בבית ובעסק שלכם. פתרונות אבטחה מתקדמות, מצלמות אבטחה, הדקות, אינטרנט ובקרות כניסה. הקמה ושדרוג רשת המחשבים והאינטרנט שלכם בעסק ובבית. התקשרו עוד היום ל-05-25-75-75-81. פיסיקו מחשבים, פתרונות משרדיים במקום אחד. תנו לניסיון לדבר.
רדיו מודיעין, התושבים מדברים, רדיו מודיעין, התושבים מדברים.
You're back with me, Rolene Marks, on Radio Modiin, where the citizens speak. And if you speak Hebrew, there's a whole variety of different subjects and different presenters right here on Radio Modiin. And also, if you want to advertise your business, please be in touch with us. This is a community radio station. We want to ensure that your business, your service gets out to as many people as possible. And the rates are really, really good. Now, there is so much happening in the entertainment world. I can hardly keep up. And we're going to cross to Yael Kinar. She is our queen of entertainment. Good morning, queen. Welcome back.
Good morning.
That delicious, delicious singing. Before we get into today's discussion, I just want to mention somebody who the entertainment world lost today. Treat Williams died at the age of 71. Many of you are familiar with him from Everwood, Chesapeake Bay, Blue Bloods, and of course, the iconic movie Hair. He was killed when a motorist cut him off while he was on his motorbike, and judging by the tributes coming in, pouring in from all over Hollywood, this was a deeply, deeply loved, respected, and admired actor, and may his memory be for a blessing. Thank you, Treat, for all of the exceptional memories, and our thoughts and our prayers go out to your family and to your loved ones. We are losing such legends, Yael.
This is true. I mean, he died riding his bike at 71. It's a big way to go. I don't know. We have some of these actors in their early 80s having babies, and some are dying younger. So Life is unexpected, whether you're a celebrity or not.
Let's get on to certain celebrities in their 80s having babies with, I think, women in their 20s.
This is true. Well, because women in their 80s are not able to have babies. Somehow this is afforded through science and wealth to men. And we have Al Pacino at 82 with his 29-year-old girlfriend expecting their first child. They kept saying their first child. I was thinking, well, how many children do you think you'll be having? I'm happy he's having a great time. He has a daughter who's older than her. He has a 33-year-old, and this girlfriend is 29. And a lot of people around me have been saying, well, it's so strange. Why would a 29-year-old want to have a baby with an 82-year-old? Why? Why possibly? Let's try and put our thinking caps on. Financial security, charisma, fame. He might be a fabulous partner. I don't know. I think there is a bit of a trade-off. You know, at 82, even if he may live well and be healthy for many years to come, the chances of him walking a child down the aisle are not high. But there's women who have children on their own. There's women who are single moms by choice. This way, you do have the promise of financial security and having someone help you along this process. And I don't know if he's as involved a father this time around as he would have been. His friend Robert De Niro, 79, just had another kid. They're fertile and they have options. I don't know. We have Martha Stewart at 81, who's on the cover of Sports Illustrated, Jane Seymour in a bikini. I'm here for it. We don't want to be ageist, but it's a non-standard choice, and I don't believe it's available to the general public.
I must say, I'm really here for Martha Stewart in her cozy on the cover of Sports Illustrated, because we see too many or too much of nearly naked celebrity, fetus stick figures walking around. And it does make one feel a little bit, body conscious. So Martha Stewart, in your 80s, lady, rocking it on Sports Illustrated. Yeah, we know.
And she talks about still looking for love and being on the apps and swiping left and right. And good, you'd rather be there than in a nursing home somewhere. So
has she considered,
more power to them.
Has she considered calling Al Pacino? I'm just saying.
Well, he's not looking for a peer. He's looking for someone 50 years younger. So that's a bit of a block with the matching options.
And they say a 50-year age gap just doesn't do it. But let's talk while we're on the subject of skinny celebrities, because you and I know that it's not Pilates and diet that is shrinking some of our favorite celebrities. When you lose that amount of weight in so short a time, it's not Pilates. I do Pilates, girl, and none of that's happening to me.
Well, there used to be a campaign years ago, cosmetics, saying maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe she's doing healthy diet and exercise, maybe she's injecting herself once a week with a semaglutide called Ozempic or a different version of it. So there's a newer drug that was created really for the benefit to help people with type 2 diabetes, blood sugar issues, non-insulin, something different, an injection once a week. And one of the effects of it is that people have been losing weight with it. Great science, medicine, but biotech. Well, we're all in support of that. However, it seems that some of our beloved celebrities have thought of it as a way to lose 3 pounds before the Oscars, before an award ceremony, or to go from being skinny to skinnier to skinniest. And there's a phenomenon of these new, different looking people where it's not have you lost some weight, it's are you the same person, losing tremendous amount of weight. And as I said, not always people who should even be taking it. So for a while, there was a shortage on the market of the drug for people who medically needed it because it was everyone's instant weight loss secret. And now there's more generic options of Ozempic and Mounjaro, and there's different names for it. People in Israel have access to it. However, some people have been admitting, a lot of our housewives, Dolores from the Real Housewives of New Jersey, and Margaret Josephs, and when they're asked, are you on Ozempic, which is like hashtag Ozempic, they're like, of course I am. And others are like Mindy Kaling and Erica Jane and people who are suddenly looking like they had gastric bypass surgery are just, I've been hiking and hydrating and Pilates, as you say, and that can be a little misleading because a lot of us are doing those things with very different results. Not that they owe us their whole medical history, and people for years have been lying about plastic surgery and other, other augmentations that they do to their body, your choice. It's just been so extreme that there's now plastic surgery fillers because there's a thing called like Ozempic face where they become so hollow and gaunt that their bodies are skinny, but now their faces have aged. So now they're doing, it should be like a full package. Injections in the belly, injections in the face, and oh my, how we all just are like, trying to.
You can actually spot an Ozempic taker because the cheekbones are, stand out.
It's an extreme change. It's a tremendous amount of weight loss. And it's being offered very readily because Chelsea Handler famously said she was taking it without knowing she was taking it. It wasn't called Ozempic. Her doctor at a regular checkup said, oh, how are your hormones? How is your this? Oh, take this. And after a while, she was like, wait, what is it? And Amy Schumer took it for a little bit and said that she was left feeling so unwell and nauseous and not able to play with her toddler, and she stopped. But it is sort of like on the menu of what would you like to do today? Would you like a vitamin shake? Would you like some kale? Or would you like some weight loss injection drugs?
Like somebody who I'm very concerned about, and I love her. I know she's been through legal battles and people have judged her, but I love her and she's my favorite pretty mess. Erica Jane is really looking gaunt. I was watching, I think it was the music video for the original Pretty Mess yesterday, and she was, curves and Amazon woman, she was
healthy, strong.
She was legs and hair and just all woman. Like you looked at her, you thought, Erica, you are way too much woman for one man. And now she's a shadow of herself. And I'm like, Erica, if you're watching, come back to us.
She needs her strength. She has her residency in Vegas. It takes physical stamina to perform and sing and dance and run around a stage. And she wasn't overweight to begin with.
No.
So,
Erica, if you're listening, bring back the curves, girl. You rock those Amazonian womanly curves. Now, we have to talk about the most exciting event of the year. Just a couple of weeks ago, we said that, and just like that is coming back, but we have a special cameo. We have to talk about it.
We do. I think you manifested it into existence, Rolene. You still miss Samantha Jones. And she has, with a big enough financial payoff to make it an offer she couldn't refuse, has agreed to appear. It sounds like it's going to be just the final episode and not in a scene that she's sharing with Sarah Jessica Parker, who they are not getting along. Apparently, I think it's more on Kim Cattrall's side than on Sarah Jessica Parker's side. But she has agreed to make an appearance in the new season of And Just Like That, which hasn't aired yet, but there's already leaks and rumors. And I think it has been confirmed. So all those people that missed the character of Samantha, even though she was referenced sort of in a vague way in the previous season, but we didn't see her face. And it looks like we will be.
Yay! And that's where we're going to leave it for this week. I want to thank my guests, the queen of entertainment, our own Yael Kinar, Dan Diker, the president of the Jerusalem Center of Public Affairs, and Uri Marks of Shweet, Brew, Biltong. Thank you for being my guest. Thank you to PR behind the scenes for bringing the joy and making sure I behave. Thank you to you, the listeners. Don't forget to join me again next week between 10 and 11 for Modiin and beyond. I'm Rolene Marks, and I'm out of here.
You look like fun to me. You look a little like somebody I know. And I can tell you how this ends. I'll be in your head all weekend. Shivers and butterflies. I get the shivers when I look into your eyes, and I can tell that you're all in. 'Cause I can hear your heart beating. I hear it and I know. I know you wanna take me home. And get to know me close. When your heart goes. I hear it and I know. I know you wanna take me home. And take off all my clothes. When your heart goes. This place is crowded up. I think it's time for you to take me out this club. But we don't need to use our words. I wanna see what's underneath that t-shirt. Shivers and cold champagne. I get the shivers every time you say my name. And I can tell that you're on it. 'Cause I can hear your heart beating. I hear it and I know. I know you wanna take me home. And get to know me close. When your heart goes. I hear it and I know. I know you wanna take me home. And take off all my clothes. When your heart goes.